down. Excuse me. Hey beautiful angels, welcome back to my channel. Today is another stories time. Okay, I just wanted to say thank you so much for all your feedback on my last video. I appreciate you guys so much, and I mean, I just thought, why not create a story time series considering all the crap that I have been through in my life. And as you can tell by the title of this video, today I am gonna spill the beans on when my dad kidnapped me. Okay, so do you think it's weird that we have certain memories of certain times of our lives that are so potent? It's like, I remember this as if it was yesterday. It's just so weird. It's like, I can remember something that happened when I was 5 years old, but I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. That kind of vibe. I know it's really weird. But I mean, I guess it's because of the intensity of the emotions that I had felt back then, that 20 years, literally 20 years later, I still remember the day as if it was yesterday. So I was 5 years old. My parents had got into an argument and they broke up. It was quite a massive argument. I remember it actually. My mum was sitting on the floor faced against the fridge, and she was crying, and I asked her, you know, what's wrong? Like, I love you. And I tried to give her some chewing gum, like a 5-year-old trying to give their mum something to cheer them up. I was like, oh, do you want chewing gum? Like, stop crying, I love you. My sister had just been born at this point. I'm 4.5 years older than her, so she was a little baby. And my mum moved us up to Queensland. We were there for quite a while. I think we were there for like a year or 2 years. I actually went to school there. I think in Queensland, the schooling system's a little different. So I wasn't in kindergarten, but I was in like preschool, if that makes sense. And by the time I came back to Sydney, I actually skipped kindergarten and I went in straight into year 1. So anyway, back to the Queensland. So my mom, my sister and I had moved to Queensland, and you know, we started our new lives together. I was 5 years old at this point. Oh my god.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
A lot happened when we lived up there. Like when I was at school, for example, this kid actually stabbed my hand with a pencil.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Because I wouldn't show him my lady parts, and I have the proof. There's a little lead piece inside my hand. It's there. I'll take a photo and I'll insert it here for you. But yeah, man, those are weird and wild days. Okay, yeah, so we were living in Queensland. I was going to school. I had a friend. I remember being obsessed with High Five at that time in my life. And I also remember one day at school, I was on the monkey bars and I was telling my friends, like, you know, we should do this and this and that. And one of the girls called me bossy and I got so upset. But yeah, so fast forward, I hadn't seen my dad in maybe like a year or 2 at this point. I can't really remember exactly how long it had been, but there was a day that my dad took me. I don't know where my mum was at this point, or my sister, but he took me and he took my mum's car that we had driven up to Queensland in, and he drove us back to Queensland. I remember we were listening to Enrique on the radio and I was sitting in the front passenger seat. I was looking at the side mirror and I'm literally looking at a photo of my mum and I when I was young. This would have been around then. Let me actually show you. That's me and my mama bear. That's literally like the era that I'm discussing right now. So as I'm looking at that, like, it's just really surreal. Anyway, yeah, so we were listening to Enrique on the way back to Sydney and I was looking in the side mirror and I was crying because, like, my dad didn't explain anything to me and I didn't know what was happening. All I knew was that I had gone, my mum didn't know where I was, I didn't get to say goodbye to her. He just took me, put me in the car and started driving us back to Sydney. And now that I'm older, I understand what he was doing. He basically said, like, get you and Haley, my sister, back to Sydney because I've got your daughter and I've got your car. And looking back at that now, he literally used me as a way to get my mum's attention and to go in that depth of, you know, in a way to manipulate my mom. Now looking at it is just so disgusting. Like, he didn't really care about me at all, and just knowing that he had the heart to take me away from the person that loved me the most as a way of manipulating her to come back to Sydney is just so sad and disgusting. And it's so hilarious how he literally tells everyone, all his side of the family, that my mum's brainwashed us. I mean, how could she, when I was alive, breathing and mentally capable of understanding all the things that he put us through? So I mean, sorry, but your lie is not even believable to the slightest. Like, she has not manipulated us whatsoever or brainwashed us, as you like to say, poisoned our minds, actually, quote, she's poisoned their minds. I was there, I was alive, I remember it, and you chose to do these things. So your actions have consequences. And yeah, it was really scary. My mum ended up coming back to Sydney, and then my parents got back together. Just the whole time of them being together, I remember, like, a little girl saying to myself, like, I can't wait until they break up, like, because I didn't like him and he was really abusive. I was like 4.5 years old the first time I remember him ever hitting me with the belt. And I know in a lot of communities getting hit is normal, and for sure, like, back in the days, even like our ancestors and stuff, or great grandparents and things, used to get hit at school and it was normal. But it's definitely not normal anymore. And growing up to believe that it was, and that it was my fault because if I stepped out of line I would get belted, really set the tone of my childhood and into my teenage and adult years. I mean, I literally attracted an abusive, toxic, disgusting human being as a boyfriend for 7.5 years, on and off. And he belted me, he R-worded me, he kidnapped me. It was just so weird how, like, the things that my dad had done, a lot of the things that... One second. Hello? Okay, baby. I'm just in the middle of filming a YouTube video. Okay, sorry about that. What was I saying? Man, I hate when that happens. Okay, yeah, so it's just funny, like, the things that my dad did to me as a child. I mean, there was a lot of things that he didn't do that other people in my life did, but there were definitely a lot of things that he did do that instilled in my mind that was normal. So then as I got older and I started meeting boys, that was a recurring pattern in my relationships, which obviously I hated and I did not like, but I thought was normal and that there was no other way around it, you know? Like, I thought abusive relationships was normal, and if you hit me, it's because you were so angry because you cared so much about me, you know what I mean? And I just really need that mentality to stop, because it is so dangerous and so wrong for children and even adults to believe that that's okay, because it definitely is not. And so many of us still believe that we don't deserve any better, or that there is no better, because they don't know better. And that's why I'm here today, and that's why I record these videos of my story times, because I've been through some that's why I come on here and I express my little stories, my little traumas that I have you know, worked through, spent a lot of time understanding, accepting and healing and forgiving. Like, I forgive my dad for what he has done, and it is definitely still a work in progress. I still do feel some emotions because there was never that conversation, there was never that closure. I've tried to reach my hand out and say to him, like, you know, like, we should have a relationship. We're only both getting older, and he just stands there like this and says, that's good to know. Like, I'm your blood. Like, I came out of your ding dong. Like, how could you talk to me like that and close the door on me like I abused you growing up? Like, it's the other way around, and you don't get to treat me like that. So yeah, my dad kidnapped me as a way of getting my mum to do what he wanted, and that is just so effed up. Like, obviously he's gone through his own childhood and his own traumas and his own bad experiences for him to believe that what he's doing is okay, what he's doing is justified, and you know, that he deserves or is owed something from us and from the world, I guess. He was always that type of person to just be very egoic. I mean, he's a Leo, so Leos on the worst spectrum. It makes a lot of sense. Leos also have some brilliant traits, and one of my best friends is a Leo, and I love Leos, but like every star sign and every human, they have the potential to be really, really toxic and really, really close-minded and really, really self-centered, and just seeing things from their own set of eyes and not being able to understand on a deeper level. It's hilarious because when I was growing up, I was suffering with severe depression and anxiety, and he literally looked me in the face and said, you do not have depression. What are you upset about? Like, I mean, you're abusing me, you're hitting me, you're bruising me, you're swearing at me, you held a knife to my neck, you neglected me, you blamed, like, gaslit me and blamed things on me. Like, no wonder why I am depressed, you know what I mean? But he would look at me in the face and say, there is no such a thing as depression, you're just being dramatic, like, get over yourself. And that's great to have your own belief, but when you're watching your child suffer based on your actions, it's pretty sad. And then after my parents divorced, my grandfather actually told me that he goes, your dad is depressed and it's your fault. You abandoned your father and now he is depressed. And I just thought that was the most bittersweet moment, because he literally gaslit me my whole life, telling me that I had no reason to be depressed. There is no such thing as depression. And I mean, look who's depressed now. And now that I'm older, I can sympathize with that, and I've had that feeling in my heart where I wanted to reach out to him and say to him, like, I understand, because I grew up with depression, even though it was basically caused by you and the way you treated me and the way your family treat me. I still had the heart to want to sympathize with that. And every time I tried to, he blocked me out and said, you chose your mum and you abandoned me. So I guess it just is what it is, and that's cool. Like, it's his loss, you know what I mean? So yeah, if any of you guys can relate to this story, please let me know in the comments or send me a DM on Instagram. My inbox is always open to chat with you guys about these kinds of things. And yeah, if you do have an absent father or an abusive father, just know it's not your fault, no matter what he says to you. It could even be your mother. Any abusive relative, no matter what they say to you, it's not your fault. You know, you were just a child, and it's not fair for the blame to be put on you. It's just a coward's way of projecting their emotions and guilt and shame, and blaming somebody else is always easier than taking responsibility for their actions. And that's one thing that I can proudly say that I do not do. I always take responsibility for my actions, and that's because I watched my father his whole life blame everything on me, or blame everything on the divorce, or blame, you know, blame his anger because me and my sister were too loud in the other room while he was trying to sleep, and then justifies that for breaking, like putting holes in walls and punching me in the face and, you know, just being really cruel to me. So, I mean, even though I was such a child, I still knew that that wasn't okay and it wasn't right. So listen to your intuition if you're going through something like this. There is help available. Please don't feel obliged to stay quiet. It's not right and it's not fair. We're not in the golden age or whatever it's called, the olden age, where, you know, you're allowed to hit your kids with wooden spoons and objects of the like, because we're all human and we all have a right to be safe and protected. Especially, we should be protected especially by our parents and our caretakers, and it's so wrong for these people to put their hands on you, to put their, like, to use objects to abuse you and to inflict harm on you. It's wrong, okay? I don't give a crap what they say to you if they make you believe that it's okay, because it's not. Yeah, anyway, I love you. I will see you guys in the next video. If you resonate with any of my stories, it would mean the world to me if you could hit the subscribe button, like the video, share the video, comment on the video. I'm really trying to grow my YouTube channel again. It's been quite a while since I've been filming, and that's just because my throat chakra has been blocked. Based on the things that have happened in my life, I've learned to stay a little bit more quiet, and if I don't stay quiet, I lash out in a very abrupt and abusive way. So, you know, spending the last couple of years really working on these things, I feel like I'm finally ready to voice my truths and, you know, tell you guys my story without it being so hostile and full of rage and pain as it used to be in the past. So yeah, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.